you enjoyed it?
Yes.
Is it because you really are tired of chess or because you like geography?
I don't like geography, but...
Oh, so it's... Okay. Well, I think I know which one it is. That's okay. What's up, chat? How are we all doing? Oh, I'm just moving the heaters next to me. I love that we have heaters. Except one of them always breaks, but that's okay. We have one heater, which is maybe all we need. I like that we just have chess in the background. This was actually gonna be my plan too, to have chess in the background, which is honestly one of the more fun ways that we have chess. Now we have a scream-free stream. Why is the oh, I think Andrea didn't send her it. Okay, cool. Well, we are fixing it. Dang, cool sign. Haven't seen you guys online lately. Well, you haven't seen us because we were supposed to stream yesterday, and we've been having really a ton of troubles with our computer. So yesterday we were ready 2 hours before stream, and our sound system completely broke. Apparently none of the audio ports work on this computer, so our Go XLR stopped working, and I just couldn't plug in any kind of headphones. So the tech guy could only come at like 7, which was after the stream was planned. I spent like a good 2 hours trying to fix it. I was just so frustrated. And our sound system had broken also 2 days before. We need to basically reinstall the software every time because it barely works. And today we were starting to have issues again, so I'm really sorry. It's not normal to have so many issues. We're gonna figure out what it is, or if we just need to update things, which is, you know, okay. Yeah, no, tech issues are never fun. Backpack less scuffed. Well, then I was working on our backpack as well, and for some reason, the data SIM cards weren't really working, but the internet works. So I think our backpack is still working, and it maybe just the connection is really bad over here. But yeah, it is okay. Chat, how are you guys doing? I did hear that Cutie is sending over a cake, which is very nice of her. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, no, Cutie is sending us a cinnamon bun cake, which is really nice. We're searched. Sasha Gray, yeah, I mean we've been having issues like several times a week, and it's really hard because by the time we have somebody who can help us fix with our tech, it's kind of later than we were planning stream, and then we're also frustrated because we just spent hours trying to fix it. Which again, yeah, I'm sorry we missed our stream yesterday. But anyway, you guys, so today we are gonna have fun, but we're gonna start first with something a little bit more serious. And Vila, I don't know if you're in the chat. I assume you are, but if you don't mind changing the title, otherwise I will do it. As you guys know, Russia invaded Ukraine, and part of what it's caused is a humanitarian crisis. Vila, our head mod, is also living in Ukraine. And we had some friends from Ukraine reach out, specifically a grandmaster who we've streamed before. And so what I wanted to do today, and like a community, whenever there are very serious things going on in the world, like when we did the COVID relief funds, or we tried to raise money for Austin before, is just basically do a little bit of a charity stream today. So I spent quite a bit of time before the stream trying to look towards which charities are really helping with the best humanitarian aid possible, and one of the ones that I found was Cure, which I'll pull up on stream a little bit later, but since it is getting late in Ukraine, I did want to use our platform to give space and give a platform to a friend of ours, Grandmaster Yevgeny Shtembulyak. He was the former U20 world champion, and he's currently in Ukraine, so he wanted to come and chat with us a little bit, and then we'll talk about the humanitarian charity, which is the one I'm going to support. I'm going to donate $1,000, and if you're in a position where you feel like you're able to support as well, this is one that you can consider, that I've done the work in looking at, and I'll explain why I think it's a good one. But if you guys have any other suggestions, please put them in chat. Really, this is just whatever you think is the most helpful. But yeah, so let me log on to my Discord and message Yevgeny. He basically just wants to talk about how the situation is right now, how brave Ukrainian people have been, what he's seeing on the ground. No, the charity is not sponsoring. In fact, we're doing it, you know, we're doing it kind of fast, so I'm not even going to be able to see the donations. And honestly, any charity that you guys recommend for Ukraine, please feel free to put it in the chat. We're also going to have Vila hanging around, who, you know, has been the only full-time person with BotezLive other than me and Andrea, and he's currently in Vila. Sorry, he's currently in Ukraine, so he'll be around in chat answering questions if you guys have it. The command is, okay, one sec. The command is cure. There it is. Yeah, it can be more than one. So I was spending time looking at a few charities, and the reason why I picked Project Cure is because they're one of the oldest charities. They've been around since the 1980s. If you look at Charity Navigator, they have really good ratings. They've also been basically, hang on, I'm pulling up my notes because I do have notes on them so that I don't miss anything. Okay, they've been regularly ranked as one of the top charities by Charity Navigator, Chronicle of Philanthropy, GuideStar, Top Nonprofits, Forbes Magazine. And right now they're currently working in Ukraine, and what they're doing is they have a Cure cargo program, and they deliver 40-foot cargo containers, and they have between 350K to 400K worth of donated medical supplies and equipment, and they go to hospitals, clinics, community health centers, basically all the places that are being hit the worst, that are trying to support civilians. Which, you know, whenever we have... Is there a charity that supports other countries? We actually did a charity stream as well for civilians in Afghanistan a few months ago. Whenever we do charity streams, I'm always a little bit nervous because it is, you know, something that can also come off as virtue signaling, and it's very hard to decide where to put your dollars, and actually deciding where to give charity is a very difficult question. So the reason that we've partnered with specific organizations in the past is, you know, when it's a war-torn area and civilians are being hurt, and there's organizations that are just helping people who have, you know, no fault at what they're being, those are pretty good ones. That's why we've also worked with CARE in the past, because they have a lot of impact. And right now, you know, our hearts are with civilians in Ukraine who just need help and support. So, yeah, that is what we are trying to do. And, you know, as a community, I think it is important sometimes to pause and just try to help people when it's very impactful. So, yeah, let me, let's talk actually to, you know, our Ukrainian friend. He has been on the stream before. He has played matches with a lot of people in the chess community, and he wanted to chat a little bit, so we're gonna share our Twitch channel today to create a platform. Okay, let me send him a message. Also, you guys, like I mentioned, this is just for trying to help. If you guys have another charity you support, feel free. The reason why I recommended this one is because I've looked through a lot of different charities, and it's hard to figure out which ones are the best, because there's certain issues, right? Like some charities that I looked into would only be able to get the money into Ukraine after like a month or so. That's not as helpful. Some charities, they look like they're doing good work, but I just couldn't find any like, what is it called? Enough transparency online. So this was one that seemed to kind of hit all the checkpoints in terms of they've been in Ukraine since the 2000s. They have experience. They've already done something like 40 cargo kits to Ukraine before. They're able to get the money because they are based in the U.S. and then they're able to send them over. So it felt like one of the ones that are pretty impactful. If you're not in a situation where you could donate 100%, don't do that. But if you are in a position where you're comfortable, you have something extra, and you want to support Ukrainian civilians, this is a good charity. Okay, let me check if he's here. Thank you for donating $20. Also, since I didn't have time to set up like some kind of integration, if you do donate, just let us know in the chat. let us know. And I'll just thank you out loud. I will thank you out loud. And for people who are commenting about the US, this is not about if the US is right or wrong. That's a completely different subject. This is about, are people who are innocent, who are civilians, in help of need right now, and is there a way to support them if we're in a position that is financially, we're financially able to do so. That's what this is about, and that's kind of how we try to frame the charity stream. Okay, I sent Yevgeny a message. Let me get him. Oh my gosh, I hope our audio works. I hope our audio works. And I'll just keep some chess games in the back. We are actually talking to a Ukrainian grandmaster, so, it is chess related. Chess.com does count. Audio is working? Okay, awesome. Let me give him a call. Let me make sure he can hear us. Uh-oh, I can't hear him. Oh, audio. Let me make sure that my audio is working. Okay.
Bacon 4205 gifted a tier 1 sub to Native Demon.
Hey Yevgeny, can you hear me? Test. Uh-oh. I think our Discord settings might be back. 1 second.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Test. Can you hear me now? Test. I have an idea. Test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Test. Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now? Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. If you don't mind putting, yeah, I'm just gonna grab it and I'm gonna put it on stream. 1 second.
Hipside gifted a tier 1 sub to Who is Melina. They have given 279 gift subs in the channel.
Alright, I'm just getting you on stream. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Chat, is the audio okay? Sorry, we've been having a lot of issues with our audio, so let me just get it calibrated. Do you mind saying something?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Chat, are we able to hear him okay? Yes? Okay. Alright, that is good. I'm glad we can hear him. Let me just make sure that all of the settings are right. And it froze. Okay, you're good now.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna... Yeah, it's moving. I think it's just a little bit laggy. Okay, well, yeah, Yevgeny, welcome to the stream. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances today. As you and I were chatting before the stream, we found a charity that we're going to be supporting for now, and I'll try to include it in the rest of the streams as well, just so that if people don't know one way to help, we found one that is reputable. But honestly, tonight is about hearing it from you. You're a Ukrainian citizen, you're born and raised, you're currently on the ground. Anything that you want to start off with, the platform is yours today.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, first of all, I really appreciate your support and support from, I don't know, probably hundreds of people who contacted me today and who donated money. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, let me just tell you a bit about myself, and then I'm gonna tell you how this whole thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So last 4 years I lived in the US, and then this year I came to Ukraine for a couple of weeks, and then I didn't recognize my country. It was beautiful. The last 5 years, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of things were actually getting a lot better than in the US, to my surprise. So I decided to move here for a year and see how everything works out. Yeah, so that's like a background. So what happened? Yeah, a couple of days ago at 5 a.m., it started bombing everywhere. You could hear like from everywhere, and a lot of people, tens of people, couple of days before this happened told me, but even like weeks before that, like this could happen, you should leave the country. But what I told leader to everyone is that this could never happen. Like the full scale invasion, like I just no one could believe it. Like I talked to really a lot of people here in Ukraine. Literally no one believed this could happen. And when we saw all those news like on CNN and like other channels saying that this is about to happen, like I was just thinking, no, I mean it's like propaganda or something. Like there is no way like the full scale invasion happens. So people were really shocked. Um, so the first night we spent in the restroom, like with my friend who's also a chess player, a Grandmaster Pavel Vorontsov, and also my girlfriend, because it was a bit scary and probably dangerous to like sleep in a bed because if something happens, like everything blows up, and
Right.
like in the restroom we have no windows. So we decided to spend like the night there, and then next day luckily we decided to move out of the city, so we were staying like in the center of Kiev, and it started hitting up there. So I somehow found like some driver, and so basically we got out of from Kiev, and like the ride took us 2 hours, and the ride that would normally take like 15-20 minutes. So like the traffic was so terrible, so we had to stay there. But now we're basically outside of Kiev, where it's safe, relatively safe, compared to the center of the Kiev. And my family, they're staying in the other part of Ukraine. They're in Odessa, where it's safe at the moment, but again, anything could happen. So, but the most important, so this is like a background of everything what
Mhm.
happened to me. But what I want to tell you guys is that I was really surprised and like I was just amazed by how brave the Ukrainian people are. Like some of the stories, they're just, I mean, I just cannot wrap it around my head. It's like you can see thousands of people who are not professional, like, they're not a part of professional troops or something. They're staying in line to get like the weapons. Like some people who basically hated each other in Ukraine, they were like completely opposite to each other. They started like working together. They started like supporting each other. Like what's happened? So basically, what happened is that the country got so united. Like everyone is just supporting everyone, and it's like I'm really proud to say that I'm Ukrainian now. It's crazy. And like for instance, like the president, like he was not someone who I like actually supported, but when I look at everything that's going on right now, like last couple of days, this guy this guy is a hero. Like what he's doing, like how he's holding up, this is just crazy. Like no one expected this. I'm pretty sure Russia thought that this will take like a day or two and it will be over, but like the resistance is huge. And you can hear some news where like people just like catch some Russian troops or something. It's like crazy. Like people just go there and fight. Like some people, they're not afraid of tanks. They just go there and stay like right in front of the tank, saying that I'm not gonna let you go anywhere. So I'm really amazed how brave and united the Ukrainian people are right now. And the last thing that I want to say is that, yeah, so basically everyone is trying to help how they can. And for me and my friend Pavel Vorontsov, like we also wanted to do something, but we have like no training like literally no training, so there would be like no use for us. So we decided to spend this whole day to raise the awareness among all the people that we know. And yeah, thank you for giving us this platform. So we are trying to raise as much money as possible to the charities. So like this whole day we spent working with our clients. We did like a Zoom meeting for them for like 8 to 10 hours, where we're encouraging like all of those people to donate money. And it's been great to like have this support from all the people that we know. And I really appreciate that you're giving me a chance to speak here.
Of course. I mean, I'm really sorry for what is happening to you guys, and our hearts really go out, and I hope that things will be able to reach a peaceful resolution. Uh, what are some things that people can do to, support Ukraine right now?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things. So what you can do, the best thing is probably to donate. If you could donate to the charity that we provided. The other things that you can do is just speaking out, just sharing your opinion about this on like all the social medias, just talking about this to all your friends. Doesn't matter where you are right now, if you're in the US and in Mexico and Australia, like really doesn't matter. If you could just share it with everyone that you know, that Ukraine, like a lot of people, they're not really like, they don't really know anything about the situation, or they don't really know much, only like a couple of minutes from the news. But Ukraine is a free, separate state. And a lot of people I know, like from my experience, like from years ago, they're like, okay, Ukraine is kind of like a part of Russia, but that's not true. That's like a separate
Mm-hmm.
free nation. And that's very important to not. Mm, I mean, it's very important to distinguish that. And just telling about the situation and encouraging more people to donate and just spreading the word. You can contact your local TV reporters and just maybe read a bit more about what's going on and then share your opinions with them. But basically, whatever you can do to show your voice, that show your opinion, that really matters. If there are some protests in your city, you can go out there and also show your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from what I've been seeing so far, at least in terms of like my Western media, since obviously I tend to get the news that is popular in the U.S. The U.S. obviously is trying to support Ukraine with everything they can, other than so far, I think just NATO has sent over troops. So I guess on an individual level, that's why we kind of picked the humanitarian organization that we wanted to donate to today, because that's just helping civilians who are, in hospitals where they haven't been able to get medical supplies, and trying to get it to them as quickly as possible. Do you have any updates from what you've seen on the ground in terms of like hospitals or civilian centers being hit?
Honestly, it's crazy. It's like, I mean, obviously you cannot say if they like do it on purpose or not. I hope not, but like you can see like the missiles like shotting the buildings. It's like the buildings are like 20, 25 story storage. Like it's and you can see like those like pictures and videos. It's just crazy. Like the hospitals, like the kindergartens, like schools, just like some home areas where like thousands of people live, like in those like huge 20-story buildings. It's crazy. Like it's like some like houses were affected as well. It's like you never know where it's actually gonna hit, and there are some deaths among the civilians too. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but there are some for sure. And this is just scary and terrible. Like I would never, like it's just a very weird feeling that I like haven't had before. Especially like first minutes, like first hours, it was just crazy. But then I had to calm down because I was responsible for my girlfriend, and then like my friend was also there, so we had to be like very calm. And then pretty much like made the decision, like, are we leaving this part of the Kiev? Like, how are we doing it? Like, are we not doing it? Should we stay here? And it's like you hear all this information from everywhere. It's like, oh, it's not safe to move because they're like launching like some attack right now or something else. And then you can always hear those like huge planes or something like going around like above your head, and like you don't know where they're going. You don't know if it's like Ukrainian or Russian planes. It's just crazy.
Right. So right now, I mean, I know we've been talking to Vila as well, who lives in Ukraine, and part of the news that he has gotten is to just kind of stay where he currently is. I know that for women and children, some of the neighboring countries are trying to help refugees, but I'm assuming it's very hard to actually be able to safely transport there, right?
Yeah, so the traffic is insane. So, for instance, to get to Lviv, I mean, it will take you like from Kiev to Lviv, it would take you like at least 24 hours, which is crazy because normally it would take you like 5 hours. And also, if you get to the border, there is no guarantee that they're gonna let you out because Ukraine has declared a state of war. So basically, all
I think sorry, you cut out for a second. Um, Wait, is everything okay on my end? Sorry, the audio cut out. Chat, can you still hear him, or did it just cut out on my end? Do you mind unplugging your audio and connecting back, because I just stopped being able to hear you? And I don't see green around it either, so I think or if you want to just hang up and call back, we can do that as well. Test.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Okay, it's back.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. So back to what you were saying, that the traffic is very hard right now, and that's what you
Yeah,
kind
the traffic is very hard, and like it's also, very dangerous right now to travel because you don't know, like they're bombing like some bridges and like some roads, and the road may be closed, and then you're not going to be able to actually get there. And also, even if you get to the border, um, like most men will not be able to cross the border because
right.
Ukraine has declared a state of war. So basically, all male who are from 18 to 60, they have to stay within the country. Yep.
Got it. Let me see if our community has any questions as well. I think that could be
Mhm.
kind of helpful to be able to talk to somebody who is currently there right now. So if you guys are watching and you have any questions, please put it in the chat. Mapriel, it's good to see you. I know you've helped a lot of our charity efforts, so it's very appreciated. Um, okay, give me one second. Someone was asking, what's the situation in Kiev right now? Because that is where you're currently at, right?
I'm like probably 10, 12 miles away from the downtown Kiev, which may not sound like it's far, but it is quite far from there. Um, it is getting crazy there. So like as of now, probably the main goal of Russia is to change our regime, as they call it, fascist regime, which is obviously stupid propaganda because how can you call a Jew a fascist? Like it just doesn't make sense. So like our president is a Jew. So like what they're saying like doesn't make any sense. So I guys, please um don't trust what they're saying in Russian news. Like probably at least 80-90% of their saying is total nonsense.
And
Um,
speaking of the president, as you mentioned, he's been staying to fight, and I know he's had a lot of national addresses where he's making it clear that he's there, even though he's at risk. How is the Ukrainian morale doing so far?
um, yeah, I think that's what I was talking about in the beginning. Like they're doing amazing. Like what they're doing is just out of this world, in my opinion. Like I would never expect something like this to happen. Um, like as I'm telling you, like let's say like all the people who are like were in reserve, they went there. So basically in Kiev, I think, or maybe I'm not sure if it's fully correct, but they've given out at least 25,000 weapons to people. They call it like territory defense or something like this. Um, like the Russian troops, they're also creating some, I'm not sure how to explain it, like some things like some marks, then they could bomb those places later. And like there are some guys who are like 18, 20 years old who know the areas very well, so they go around the areas like finding those marks and destroying them. And it's just crazy like how united the people are right now. I just never seen anything like this in my life before. It's like everyone is literally helping everyone. And I think that's something that I didn't really expect. I'm sure they saw that they could like capture everything within like a day or two. I think
Right.
that's something that they didn't expect for sure. And now I'm like, it's not clear how it's gonna end. I mean, it's clear that the NATO can't get involved because if they do, it's just gonna start the Third World War, and Russia made it very clear. So we kind of here on our own, which is crazy, like with the biggest aggressor in the world.
Right. And
Um,
you guys are holding up so far, and the entire nation is uniting.
yeah, I mean, this is honestly just crazy. Like, I understand, like last 8 years were tough. Like, we're basically in I'm not sure how to describe it, but in a way, like in a state of war. So like always there were some things happening. So like the army, like they were training and stuff, but still, like Russia has one of the best militaries in the world, and it's just crazy how like everyone does something to support it. Like I've seen some videos where like women take the guns, like they also help to like police the territories. Like it's just crazy.
And another question we had was about the supply chain right now. Are you able to get any groceries, or how are you doing that if you have to shelter in place?
This is a very good question. Oh, this is actually a very good question because what happened in Kiev, for example, I mean, I'm staying outside of Kiev, so it's a bit different, but what happened in Kiev is that all of the local businesses started supporting people. So a lot of people are hiding in the metro, in the subway.
Right. I saw some
So this is
photos
like a
of that
shelter.
in Kharkov, I
Yeah.
think.
So this is like a shelter. So a lot of businesses like the restaurants and like the food chains, they just like take water and like take food and they go to those places and give it to people.
So they're just giving it for free to anyone who needs it?
Yeah, yeah, they're just giving it out for free, or they like open places where people can come in and eat and stuff like that. And for instance, like here, it was a bit better a couple of days. So when was it? I think it was yesterday. Or maybe the day before yesterday. Because like for me, like I haven't slept almost for 3 days, and then yesterday I slept for like 12 hours, and now haven't been sleeping for a long time again.
I
Uh,
don't imagine it's easy to sleep right now.
so yeah, I just like when I haven't slept for 3 days, I just passed out the next day. It's just crazy. So yeah, I think it was like 2 days ago, or maybe like 1.5 day ago. We went to like a huge store near like this place, and it took us more than 2 hours to go through the line.
Kayla donated
But
$250
like the
for
food, like
Ukraine
everything
chess
was there.
players.
So, but it's not a very like populated area. So basically, like in Kiev, you have those very
Also,
like
I'm gonna
high-rise
pause for a
buildings.
second because someone donated $250. I'm just gonna pass that on with the donation I'm gonna do to the charity. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If anyone accidentally donates to me, I'm just gonna pass it forward, by the way, but you guys can just donate directly as well. Sorry, continue, Evgeny. I wanted to make sure we thank people helping.
Yeah. So here it's a bit better because like where I'm right now, it's mostly like houses. And in Kiev, it's like high-rise buildings, and there are like millions of people in Kiev. So it's a lot harder there. You can see like some pictures of like the lines outside of the store. But they're doing everything that they can to keep bringing the food, to keep like making bread and stuff, to keep bringing the water.
Is that
So
something that
basically,
could end up being an issue if, the crisis continues for too long?
Don't really think. I mean, it's hard for me to evaluate because I'm not an expert, but I don't really think so because all those places, like bakeries and stuff, like they're working full time. So like a lot of people, they're not really like hiding, like they're actually working. Yeah, which is crazy, honestly.
That people are still trying to function and support people when they're amidst of a unexpected invasion.
Yes. Yes.
And so another person was asking, since we were talking about Kiev and a lot of the high rises there and how it might be one of the areas that is most targeted, with the current traffic, like how many people have been able to evacuate from Kiev so far? Because I saw another thing that people are supporting are evacuation funds.
Hmm. It is very like chaotic, honestly. Like people just get on the car and get out. So from what I mean, I'm sure like more than a million or like probably like half of the Kiev got out, but I'm sure there are still millions of people in there. And the other info that I saw was that more than 150,000 Ukrainians got out to like Poland, Moldova, and like other countries.
Got it. Yeah, I saw that the neighboring countries were helping. I don't really know what the numbers are, and I know you were mentioning earlier that you didn't really know how many civilian casualties were going on. But this was another question that we were getting often. Oh, Benjamin Feingold, thank you so much for the raid. We really appreciate it. If you want to donate, we have a link to a charity that we've looked at in terms of, being a transparent charity that is very reputable, that is helping with medical relief. So if you want to check them out, we got the link over there. We appreciate it. Ben Feingold, from GM to GM, I guess. But sorry. On the civilian casualty question, back to that. If you have any idea.
Honestly, I would love to not comment on that because, I mean, obviously, like everything that's going on is crazy, and I'm sure there are gonna be like casualties from everyone, and like everyone could make a mistake because it's not clear like what's going on. Like, especially if you're in this territory, um, defense, it's like you don't know who's coming, and it's super tricky. But I'm sure there are gonna be a lot of civilian casualties, which is obviously terrible and very sad.
Right. And what about for you personally? I know you've been helping a lot, trying to raise awareness. Are you planning on staying in Ukraine?
Honestly, I have no idea what I'm gonna do because I have no idea what's gonna happen tomorrow.
You're living day by
Like
day, kind
I
of.
have no idea because like anything could happen. We may hold for like another like I don't know 5, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe we'll hold, and I hope so, but like you never know. So I can't really plan right now. I have to stay where I'm at. Where I'm at. It is relatively safe here, so I will be staying here. Then that's what I will be trying to do for the next like couple of days or maybe weeks. We will see.
Got it. Well, I'm happy that you still have, power and water, and that's the case as well for Vila. Is that something that might be at risk?
Um, I'm not sure. I can't really tell you. They may try to shut down like the Wi-Fi and everything, like the connection. So I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry. These are hard questions. I'm just passing on some of the things people have, but I mean, nobody has a ton of information right now, and I can only imagine what it's like trying to figure out day by day what's going to happen. Um,
But I think it's very important to just stay calm and do whatever like is needed. It's like we prepared everything like in case we have to move, like we got like the backpack that you can take with you and like like all the important stuff is there. And it's just important to stay calm because for instance, like I have parents in Odessa and like I have to talk to my mom. I have to make sure that she's okay because she's obviously super nervous about me right now because a lot of things are going on in Kiev and not a lot of things are going on in that small city under Odessa where she's at right now. She's very nervous. I have to talk to her. I have to show her that everything is okay.
mhm.
And I also have my girlfriend here, so like you have to stay strong and like keep it calm and try to do everything that's in your power.
Well, we're gonna keep you in our thoughts and try to donate and help as much as we can. And obviously, if there's anything I can do or any recommendations you have, like we'll be in touch, and I'll continue checking out which charities I could do for support. Let me see if there's anything else that we can help with directly, if there's anything else you think would be important to mention. I did actually see a very interesting question because I saw there were a lot of donations, like the Ukrainian military was directly accepting crypto, and I wonder if part of the reason for that is it's just because it's easier to actually get transactions into Ukraine, since otherwise it can take a while. Is this something that can be more helpful than other types of donations? Are people accepting or being able to
Yeah,
transact more?
I know there are some funds who accept crypto, but like I don't know any like additional information there.
If it's okay, if it's more advantageous or not, that makes sense. And I don't imagine that anybody local is. It seems like everybody local is just supporting and helping people as much as possible, not even thinking about currency or anything.
Yeah, for sure. Like everything that's like no one is thinking about money right now. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
is just helping everyone. Like all the local businesses, they came together to deal with this, and like everyone is not doing this for their profit.
That makes
And it's
sense.
also crazy. So yeah, one other thing to mention, it's like we got this new bank app.
Mm-hmm.
So they only do cards, but this is like I don't know, in the US you have all those like old banks like Bank of America, Chase and stuff like that.
Right.
Like if you look at their apps, it's like terrible. So this bank is called like Monobank. They like just some of the stats that are ridiculous to me. So they have like their like typical numbers, typical statistic for how much money people like take like from credit, and then how much money people return. And what's fascinating is that the numbers of returning the money are pretty much on the same levels as they were before this happened. So people are taking the money, but they're actually putting them back, which is also crazy. I don't know.
And
It's just
it's surprising that
uh,
people are able to do that. I would imagine that they're using as much as possible, but I guess you're not going to be using money if people aren't requiring it. I guess what it would go towards would be like medical supplies, military supplies, all things that aren't really being transacted by civilians.
yeah, but I mean, again, it's like some of the businesses, like some of the like huge stores where it's a bit safer, they still work in kind of like normal way. So like in some, so basically right now it would be nice to have a lot of cash because like if you have a card, like you may not be able
Taylor
to pay in a
donated
lot of places. And again,
$250.
a lot of
You can
local
get directly to
businesses, they
Epay,
work for
please.
free, but there
If
are
not
still
for
some
your charity.
businesses, like in some big chains that don't do it yet because like where they are, it's still relatively safe.
We got another donation. Thank you so much. I'm gonna forward it on behalf of anybody who donates today. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah. Well, everybody in our most people in our chat, they're saying that they're standing with you in Ukraine, and well, oh,
Yeah, thank you for your support. Just another thing to mention, like what you can do is just raise your voice, like show your opinion, just write something in social media, tell it to all your friends, and like reach out to like TV reporters, share the donation links with everyone you know. Like you need to explain to people that basically Ukraine is not only fighting for Ukraine right now, Ukraine is fighting for the entire world. Because if this happens, imagine this happens and like Russia invades and stuff, like all the other countries from now
Hundreds
will think
cheered.
that it's possible
X
to do things like
1000.
that, and there will be no repercussions or like some sanctions that are not, I mean, that are a big deal, but not such a big deal, right? So basically, NATO cannot get involved right now. So if this happens, what if later China decides to
invade
invade
Taiwan,
Taiwan or
right?
something else happens? Like this is a very important fight here right now. So if you could just show your opinion, share it in all your social media, like share it with all your friends, share the links, share the opinions, just read about it a bit more. That would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do today on stream with our community, and just trying to find a way to help ease the suffering that Ukrainians are going through right now. And, we'll continue to try to do that. And I agree with you. I mean, first, it's just, important to help people in need around the world. But second, this is much more big than just Ukraine in and of itself. So I think that's a very good thing to add over here. Let me see what else our chat is saying. I did actually see that Elon Musk was putting Starlink in Ukraine. Have you heard anything about that? Is that something you think it would
Yeah,
be helpful?
I saw his tweet, but as far as I understand, you need to have like a special like router for this to work. But
Interesting.
maybe I'm not correct. I'm not sure.
Got it. So then we'd also have to focus on getting the routers into Ukraine for people to be able to set them up. Let's say if, Russia would
Yeah,
target the
I
energy grid.
mean, I'm not like 100% sure that that's true, but that's what I heard. It's like you need a special router for this to work. So, and obviously no one has it here.
Right. Well, I hope that they're able to get it, or I hope that there's some way to use it without. I think it's, a good initiative, but as you mentioned, it needs to actually be able to work.
Yeah.
Well, Yevgeny, thank you so much for your time today. If there's anything else, shoot me a message. I'll be around. I'm gonna keep this charity on stream for today, and the next streams that we're doing as well. And I'll keep them if there's other charities that you think become more important. Like, let's say evacuation fund is more impactful, or there's something that's more necessary. Please let me know, and I'll just try to update it based on information for where is the most impactful way people can help support Ukrainians.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I hope that you get some rest. I know I can't imagine how you're feeling right now. I hope your mental health is going to be able to, stay strong throughout this.
This is where chess is helping. Like,
Is
you
it?
got-
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a nice little positive spin on it.
Yeah.
All right, Yevgeny. Well, we will let you go. I will keep it up in the chat. If you want to hang out in chat as well, if people are asking questions and reply to them directly, please go for it. And if there's anything else, just shoot me a message and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you again.
Okay, you as well, Yevgeny. Please take care and keep me updated if there's anything.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, man. These things are really emotional. It's always... It's already a very tough situation, and it's even more tough when it impacts people that you know. Ben Feingold, I appreciate the subs. I'm gonna go through after to see whatever the bits or the donos were. I'm planning on making my own 1K donation. I'm just gonna add them on top. I'll show the receipt too, just to have some kind of tracing for it. Yeah, you didn't know Vila was a GM? No, Vila's not a GM, but Vila has been around in the chat, so if you guys do have questions, he's also in the ground. It is inspirational to see people of Ukraine fighting for their country, especially in the conflict where, a lot of intelligence was thinking that Russia would have taken over in something like 2 days. I think if people would have looked at the start of the crisis versus now, it does seem like Ukraine actually has a better chance. I don't want to talk on anything on like military or war because that is not my specialty. The reason why I picked this charity was because they're just helping. They're helping with medical supplies for civilians, which is something that I think people can really never disagree with. It's like people who are not in the war, people who didn't make the policy, people who just need help, and in a situation where help is needed throughout the country. So, thank you, Lord Dermadius.
Lord Armadius donated $100. Support Ukraine.
Thinking Vila would answer questions in chat, not knowing him well. No, I talked to Vila before the stream. I had a chat with Vila before I went live. So he said that he would be around. Oh, there's some heavy times right now, you guys. Afghan lives matter too. Yes, and we actually did a charity for civilians in Afghanistan as well when that happened. But this isn't a... yes, everything matters. Right now, you know, there's so many different ways you can try to help, and this is one situation. Ben Feingold, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Mom. Vila is in Ukraine. Yeah, if you donate to the link, it won't show up on stream, but if you donate to the link and you come and stream, I will personally thank you. If you want to donate, you know, to support other people to donate as well on stream, like I said, I'm going to go through all the transactions and I'm just going to donate on our behalf and I'll send the receipt as well. Okay, we have Vila in chat as well, so if you guys do have questions or you want to talk about things I can help, he is around. It'll be like the old days where leaders had to fight at the front lines. Well, I mean, that is what the Ukrainian leader has been doing so far. And I even heard that the former Ukrainian leader, who's like this billionaire who was out of country, is coming back to go fight. Mayor used to be a boxer. He's fighting as well. It seems like everybody is willing to fight for Ukraine. Does my friend on stream and his group need money too to help? He didn't mention that, Kano. He just wanted to talk to me about raising awareness, which is why, you know, this was part of the stream. But I will be, you know, connected and try to figure out what the most helpful things are. Vila, are you in a basement right now? Yeah, okay. Vila, our EA, he's in Ukraine and he refuses to go in the basement as much because the Wi-Fi is spotty. But then again, if war was going on in my country, Wi-Fi would probably keep me sane for a little bit. Thank you, Heavy Mental. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys, if it's easier to donate directly to me, I'm going to take whatever we got and I'm going to just donate it directly. So if that is easier for you, you can. If you want to read about the charity, actually, let me just pull them up. And I'll show you how I came across them. Vila downloaded videos to go to the basement. Well, I mean, you gotta keep your mind busy in times like this. Okay, so boom boom. All right, so this is the charity that I found today after looking at a few. So first, let me just start. Oh yeah, actually, let me duplicate this and make a better scene. And then we could do, you know, some fun things as well. It's just it's hard to think about fun things when there's things like this happening. Okay, hang on. I'm getting out the box. Okay, here we go. All right. There we go. Okay, we have everything here. Okay, so, this is Project Cure. This is where they're doing the fundraising. I'm just going to donate to them directly with everybody who donates, or you can donate directly to them. One, I like that they've been working in Ukraine since the 2000s, since it's really important to understand the geography and to be connected with locals there to really understand where the needs are. They've sent 53 Cure cargo shipments, which I have a link for as well, but I'll let you guys know what the Cure cargo shipments are. Actually, let me just pull it up from Discord. 1 second, where was it? Okay, here we go. So, what is in the cargo shipments is... Oh, is this link gonna work? No, it's gonna make it come from Discord. How do I do that? Ah, here it is. Okay, so... It's medical supplies, and they carry between 350K to 400K worth of donated medical supplies and equipment, and they go towards under-resourced hospitals, clinics, and community health centers. So these are what the kids usually do, but in this specific case, they have a fundraiser specifically for Ukraine. And the cool thing about Project Cure is if you look them up on Charity Navigator, which I always try to look for just to make sure that charities are reputable and, you know, making sure that if you are donating money, it's for a cause that's actually going to use it wisely. So they had 92.81 financial score, which is really high. That's usually the percentage of dollars that is going directly towards the cause rather than administrative stuff. They're very high in accountability and transparency, which is really important for seeing what the charity has been doing over time. And they've also just been mentioned in numerous publications. They're also one of the oldest ones. They've been around since the 1980s. And you know, I like that they're being able to help with medical supplies, which is just really a scarce resource in times like this. And the cool thing about them is I think they're based in Colorado. They're based in the US, which means that it's easier to send money to them directly and then have them ship these shipments over. Very open to suggestions for other charities. This was just me trying to do research and figure out one that I thought was good. If you guys have other facts or anything else that you think is important, you could share that as well. Yeah, Mom, I'll add $100 from you. Definitely. Good night, Andrea. Sorry, good night, Mom. Any family there, Alex? We have family in Romania, but I do have, you know, friends and you know, people who considered like family, like fiancés of my best friend who also lives in Ukraine, or just a lot of close friends who are Ukrainian, since Romanians and Ukrainians are pretty close. A lot of people in the chess community, and of course Vila, who is just part of the BotezLive family. Kasparov in the US Chess Federation has a GoFundMe for Ukrainian chess players. Okay, yeah, definitely. So you guys can, you know, support in whatever way you can. When Yevgeny reached out today, it seemed like he's been reaching out everywhere he can to spread awareness. So I'm glad that you guys were receptive to having him on stream.
Lapasaurus cheered. X500, as someone who studied international relations and spent time in China, do you have any insight on the stance China has in this conflict? Do you think there is any possibility of them doing something similar to countries they lay claim to?
Well, I mean, the big question right now is if China is going to invade Vietnam. There have been military jets that have been flying over Taiwan. It was also interesting with the timing of Putin invading Ukraine right after the Olympics. But I don't have enough, you know, knowledge right now on whether or not that's going to happen, but that's definitely something people are worried about. Sorry, did I say Vietnam instead of Taiwan? You guys know what I meant. Yeah, sorry. Obviously China invading Taiwan. Which... Yeah, not Vietnam. I didn't mean to scare you guys. No, I meant over Taiwan. Yeah, I mean, the Hong Kong situation was also very sad. And we saw that, you know, U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan. U.S. wasn't able to help with Hong Kong. So a lot of people are questioning whether this is going to be kind of a changing of the U.S. as the global policeman. And again, when I say this, a lot of people say, yeah, but the U.S. has also invaded countries before and done things that aren't just 100% true. Not disagreeing with that. But yeah, this is just what I've been reading. I haven't been... Before, when I was studying, I used to be up to date with everything. But right now, it's just things that I've been reading. I'm not a international relations PhD or master or somebody who's working in the field, so a lot of what I learned is outdated. Andrea knows because of her quizzes. Thank you, Night Goblin. I appreciate that.
Donated $28.57. Much support to the people of Ukraine. You are in my thoughts.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys, I appreciate people hanging out. Test. Okay, it's working. I fixed the audio. You guys, we have 3 mics, by the way. We have another one here, and I have one here. We've been trying to get things to work perfectly, but they've been breaking so often. Oh. There's some interesting Twitter threads that I have been reading, which are, you know, are some things that we could read today on stream. Sorry, 1 second, Andrea got me a message. Okay, she's good. Can we blame the gremlin? No, it's not Andrea's fault that we've been having sound issues. It actually isn't, as much as I like to give Andrea a hard time. We've been having sound issues because the tech guy thinks it's our computer. So we might just replace it. It's hard, right? Because we moved, and this actually happened when we moved from Oregon to Texas as well. But whenever you take things and, like, you know, computer parts break. Can I ask Evgeny what journalists he thinks are doing a good job of representing the experience in Ukraine? Absolutely. But also Evgeny sent me a link earlier, which was the one that we were going to use initially, actually. And the ones that they were recommending, I think, was the Kiev Independent. Let me check, because I actually looked at this earlier. So initially, this is what I was gonna, this was one of the options that I thought might be helpful, and the one that Evgeny came initially, but there was just a lot of different charities, and I wanted to actually be able to really check what they're doing, which is why I went with the other one. But here at Journalism, so it's the Kiev Independent, which has been trying to cover news as much as possible, and they do have a Patreon, and they do have a GoFundMe, so I can share this in here. This is what he sent me. This is what I've seen circulating. Please do your own research before something like this. I could also spend some time researching, but I haven't yet, so I just want to be careful with that. Yeah, Vila also said it's good. Yeah, I mean, I asked Vila as well, but... yeah, Kiev Independent on Twitter is good too if you want to see most recent news. There we go. This conflict has given me heartburn too. It's a lot to deal with. It is. It really is. Not obviously as badly as anybody who's being impacted by it directly, but I think it's a good thing in a way that people are affected by it, because we, you know, have empathy for people, even if they're living very far away from us in a different culture. Let's see what else people are saying. Unification decades ago used to mean fighting back to China. There was a game plan, a real endeavor, but over time China's government became stabilized, so ironically the national side is actually leaning towards surrendering to China. Interesting, Fuchen. Fuchen, are you Chinese, or do you live in Taiwan? Where are you from? If you don't mind sharing, and if you don't want to share, that's also okay. The Kiev Independent blew up and was quickly Twitter verified. Yeah, it did. I will say, the official Ukrainian Twitter has been posting some memes. Let me see if I can find them. That was something that was strange to me. The fact that, like, official Ukraine has a Twitter that was posting some memes. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, the official Twitter, which I think has also been helpful. Okay, maybe I saw wrong. Okay, yeah, maybe I did see wrong and it was somewhere else. Or maybe it's been deleted since. Haven't heard about the Ukrainian chess community. Are they safe? Well, the Muzichuk sisters did post on Instagram that they are safe so far. Ukraine Twitter is lit. Okay, so it is. Is that the one that had the memes, Villa? They posted a lot of memes winning the meme room. It's actually very interesting how memes can become a political tool in 2022. I hope the war in Ukraine ends in a peaceful resolution. The conflict doesn't concern only Ukraine, but the whole balance of peace and security in Europe. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Night Goblin. Political cartoons, Alexandra. Yeah, absolutely. They do predate memes by several decades, but I don't remember seeing political cartoons from, you know, countries' official sources, but I might be wrong, backseat driver. So, you know, very, very open. Humor is a great coping mechanism. It is a great coping mechanism. Vila, when I was asking him how he was, he was giving me a serious answer, and then at the end, Vila goes, "At least Hassan will have content for days, Kappa." You know, there's definitely some coping going on there. There actually was a very interesting podcast I listened to that was covering this. Did you guys listen to the All In podcast? There's our Vila. Yes, that is Vila. That is Vila. What podcast? All In? It's by like, there's 4 different people who are like poker pros, billionaires, investors, and they have a lot of really interesting takes, and they were discussing the current crisis. Ukraine is a lost cause. Giving money is useless. Kiev will fall in a few days. Well, people have been saying Kiev will fall first in 2 days, and so far they have managed to withstand. The other thing is, you don't know how long the crisis will last. Giving money to civilians is never really a lost cause because it's helping lives that could otherwise, not survive. Lex Friedman podcast is good too. Yeah, I really like the Lex Friedman podcast, and I saw that he was traveling, I think, to Russia. Am I imagining things, or did Lex say he was going to have a conversation with Putin? I might be imagining things because I've been just bombarded with Twitter news lately. Let me see if I've lost my mind and I'm forgetting things. Maybe. Oh, I don't see it on his Twitter. Oh, he got hacked. Yikes. Yikes. Well. He said leadership. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. He said he's going to talk to the leadership. Whenever war happens, evacuation should be the first priority. Yeah, evacuation is definitely an important priority. And if you have any recommendations for charities that help with that, I will also take a look there as well. Yeah, I did see that Anonymous was getting involved also. Sorry, chat, I'm reading as much as you can, as I can. Well, if you evacuate, there's no one to fight the war. Well, males between the age of 18 to 60 are not allowed to evacuate. This is for women and children. Yeah, males aren't able to leave the country. Lex has been talking about interviewing Putin for a long time. Okay, interesting. It is cool that he's going to be able to meet with the Russian leadership. I appreciate it, Kano. Thank you. This is not even about having a good heart. This is about, I feel like our community has always helped in times like this. So I really appreciate you guys as well. Watch his recent podcast with Zuckerberg. It's on my list, Board Chessbots. It's on my list for sure. I think NATO troops have been helping facilitate humanitarian operations in Ukraine's neighbor. UN humanitarian operation announced that they would stay in Ukraine. At this point, every dollar helps. That is good to know. What do I think about forcing adult males to stay regardless of their political stance? I mean, that's a good question. I think it's a very tough question, but obviously Ukraine is going at war and they're fighting for their independence. I will say, I do at least respect that leadership is also staying. I saw a funny meme. Not funny. I saw a meme earlier today. Let me pull it up. It was this one. It was with the Ukrainian leader going into war and Ted Cruz leaving during the pandemic. At least do what you preach. Yeah. I thought that was a pretty... Yeah, during the Texas cold, sorry. I was actually there during the Texas cold. Political stance, defending your country isn't political stance and issuing your opinion. Yeah, but what if you have no training or you're not properly able to fight? Differences in leadership messages. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far people have been volunteering. Yeah, Zelensky, the #1 target, has been staying in so far. Okay, I did hear that Zelensky used to be in reality shows. Like, he was part of the Ukrainian modern family. So it's interesting because he doesn't even have a political background, but now he's proving to be a very adept leader. I haven't seen the Ukrainian I haven't seen the Ukrainian recruitment video. People keep mentioning it. He has a law degree? That's cool. Oh, he was playing the president in the TV show? That's I didn't know that. Biden offered him a safe flight and he refused and said, instead of that, bring me some weapons. I have seen, oh man, there's been a lot of good political memes lately. Oh wait, I'm gonna put this one on screen too. 1 second. This is kind of an easier way to talk about the topic. You know, these do actually add a little bit of relief. Can we support by subscribing? So I don't have a specific goal or target today. I'm gonna keep this on the stream. You know, for some of the future streams as well. This is only if you're in a position where you are able to donate. If you're struggling yourself, you know, it's very hard to help other people if you're struggling yourself, because then you impact everyone around you as well. What I wanted to do today is just raise awareness for people who are able to, and find one charity that, at least one charity that is like an obvious and easy way to kind of save people the time of being like, I see what's going on, I don't know the best way to help. And I was, you know, talking to Evgeny for quite a little bit before the stream, and we were trying to figure this out, which is how we came on this one. I have another funny political meme that I saw, which is what the comment with Biden offering him passage and him saying, no, just give me weapons. Okay, here it is. You have my sword, and you have my bow and my axe, and there's just Ukraine out there fighting. This was a pretty good one, I thought. You saw this too? Yeah, I thought it was good. Oh, I did. I watched Zelensky's speeches, but we can also I mean, we can watch some of these on stream. And I'm happy also to like watch things that people are supporting. I can support, just need to know how. So I have, if you do command cure, that is the link to the charity that is helping with medical supplies. If it's too hard to donate through them, you could also just donate to the stream. I'm going to go after and stream elements with all of the donations. I'm going to make a donation. I'm going to also add $1,000, and then I'll have a receipt so that, you know, people know that it actually went through. Lupu, are individuals with disabilities, regardless of age, allowed to leave the country? I don't know. Vila, do you know about that? Explaining Ukrainian political memes and videos is my specialty. Do you have any recommendation ones? Hello, Molt. You've been following for 2 weeks because you like to play chess and you're from Jordan. Well, welcome. There's a recent YouTube video by Real Life Hacks that describes in detail all aspects of why Putin is invading. I have been listening to a couple podcasts that were trying to explain that. Chat, this is what I'm getting from podcasts, so feel free to tag in if this is correct or if it's missing something. But I mean, on top of Russia, you know, calling Ukraine like a Nazi regime, the real reason is because Ukraine was potentially entering NATO, and he saw that as a security threat. And apparently for years, Putin has been saying that if that were to happen, Russia would take serious action. So just talking about it as a security threat, that's what I have heard so far, but it's very complicated. Nobody exactly understands why. Other arguments I've heard are he thought right now, they've been planning on taking over Ukraine. He thought the timing would make a lot of sense right now because of like U.S. government's current state of affairs, not thinking that people would retaliate. This is what I've heard so far. It's going to be way more complex. This is like tip of the iceberg, but this is what I've heard so far from like Twitter, from podcasts. And if you guys have any videos, we can watch that as well. He thinks he's entitled to Ukraine. Let's see what some of chat is saying. He believes Ukraine is mostly ethnically Russian, so he feels entitled to it. Yeah, absolutely. There's also this sense of entitlement. Believe it or not, I can see my comment on your stream. Well, chat has been helpful today, so I'm gonna make chat a little bit bigger. Chat is moving fast, so I'm trying to read. I believe original political cartoons released by country officials would have been considered propaganda more so back in the day. Yeah, no, absolutely. But now memes, well, I guess it's easier to accept memes from the side that you're already supporting. Putin had... Okay, it's interesting to see what chat is doing. Is there a mod I can sub to? Wait, what is that? Okay, so this is from Vila. Vila is our mod who is Ukrainian, and he says, honestly, Zelensky's entertainer past comes in handy. His videos are really helping to encourage people. Yeah, for sure. He's really well spoken. And he's been very effective at messaging. Oh, I did watch the video with John Mearsheimer. He's a famous realist, and he was talking about how the best thing for Ukraine was to remain neutral, and that trying to join NATO would be very risky. From a University of Chicago professor. Yeah, I actually have seen that, Callie Gambler. And that's very interesting, and potentially he was right. Now it's in the past, so I don't know what's gonna happen. Thank you, Fallout. I really appreciate it. Yeah, President Reagan was an actor too, yep. What other famous actor politicians? We also had Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who can forget the governor of California? Who else? I have a link to a short 3-minute video on YouTube on BBC on Zelensky's story when he was running for president. Oh, that's cool, Anthrach. I heard... One of the things I saw passed on Twitter was how when he became elected president, during his speech, he said something like, don't hang my walls in your office, I'm not an icon. Instead, hang photos of your that's who you should be thinking of. That was a pretty strong stance to say. Yeah, hang photos of your kids, yeah. Our senator for Alabama was a college football coach. Okay, that's not an actor, but I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, the Klitschko brothers, the millionaire boxers, the former mayors, they could have left, but they chose to stay and defend. I think what was cool with having Yevgeny chat here, you know, you see all the news, you see everything on Twitter, but it was nice to be able to talk directly to someone in Ukraine and really understand how resilient the Ukrainian people have been so far. And also, I think it's really inspiring when he was talking about, you know, the grocery stores and how nobody's charging and they're just trying to help each other as much as possible. People are staying. Vila's opinion, and again, we value Ukrainian opinions here because you're going to understand your politics better than outsiders. Putin has never really cared about Ukraine joining NATO. In fact, Ukraine was never close to joining NATO. It's just Putin's excuse to invade. There is another opinion that we have there. Kenner, thank you for the prime. If you guys want to send links, mods, what would you recommend is the best way to do this? Did I start in East European geopolitics in Stanford IR? No, I focused on East Asia, mostly on China. Stanford does have a really good IR program if you are thinking of taking a master's there. Okay, there's some man in here saying Ukraine conflict is fake. I'm trying to give him a timeout, but it's not working. So, my bad. But you know, I mean, the reason that I studied international relations in chat was it was a really good major for pre-law, because Stanford doesn't have a law major, and I was originally wanting to go to law school, and I was also just very interested in learning more about China, as you know, the country that I saw would be the most powerful in the world during my lifetime. I thought it'd be a really interesting opportunity. But then I realized I wasn't really learning much in school, so I actually just moved to China. And then when I moved to China, I realized I will never be Chinese, I will never know enough, and then I stopped doing that. So that was my fail story. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was very sad. Will Russia effectively shut down the free-speaking internet in Ukraine if he succeeds in taking full... I mean, if Russia could do that, I'm sure they would. Or at least during the wartime, to cut off communication. It takes a long time to understand a country's foreign politics. Oh, no, it definitely does. It definitely does. But even on top of understanding a foreign country's politics, you know, when I was focused on that, like, my Mandarin was so-so. It was really hard to understand nuance. Everybody was more positioned better than me if they were Chinese American. It was just it was too difficult. I didn't think I'd be able to do as well as I would in other fields, which is why I kind of moved away from that. You switch majors to architecture? That's cool. Really? Tinder came in clutch tracking the Russian invasion? Wait, what's the story behind that trackpad? I didn't know about that. Well, I mean, there have been a lot of protests in Russia as well. In the chess community, we had photo chess, Maria, and she also did a fundraiser for Ukraine. And I've seen a lot of photos of people who are protesting themselves, and you know, it's not the Russian people who are doing this. Okay, we have another comment from Vila, so I'm going to read it loud. The reality is that Putin overestimated how pro-Russian Ukrainians are, because right now, even if his army manages to capture Kiev, he will have to fight an insurgent war for years. Vila, do you want to come on stream and chat about how you think things are going? Guys, would you want Vila to get on audio on stream and answer some questions? He is a mod, but he actually knows a lot about what is going on. Vila's a very smart cookie, and he's, you know, Ukrainian currently there with what's going on. He said, sure, I guess. Okay, we're gonna get Vila on, we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and we're all gonna learn, so I'm gonna get on a voice chat. Let's get a photo of Vila as well. Do you guys have any funny, so that we know who we're talking to? Here we go. Chat, did I, before we get Vila, I have a very embarrassing story. So, I didn't know Vila was on one of our calls. I thought he was, you know, busy trying to be safe. And they were asking how I was doing, how the team is. And I was like, oh, you know, it's okay. Our main employees in Ukraine, and things are tough right now. And they asked a question about if he'd have to go to war. And I was like, I really hope not. He isn't built for war or something like that. And then Vila goes, you know, I'm right here. And I was like, oh God, I didn't know. I didn't know. And what I meant by that is, like, he's not trained for war. If you don't have any experience, this is really scary. Okay, we have a photo of Vila so that we all know who's talking. I'm gonna put a little text box. I didn't mean it in a bad way. He hasn't been trained for war. It's very scary, and we don't want to lose Vila. Okay. We're gonna call him our head mod. There we go. Oh, where did the text go? Did I lose it? Wait, where'd it go? Ah, here it is. Okay. So we're gonna have a call with Vila. Imagine Russia losing to this place. Yeah. It's not about size, but it's also about like, do you have any experience? Okay, we are calling Vila. Okay. Test. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Chat, can you guys hear Vila okay? Say something in the chat if you do. Okay, awesome. Well, I will take questions from chat as well so we can understand the situation better. But first, Vila, when we initially talked when Russia invaded, how surprised were you that happened? I know you had been preparing for a few weeks, but when it actually happened, how are you feeling?
I think that most people were hoping till the end that it was just posturing from Putin and Russia. Basically, they would put their soldiers and army on our borders, hoping to get some concessions from Ukraine and NATO, maybe some promises that Ukraine won't join NATO, like never. But I think he didn't get the reaction and the fear he hoped for, so he had no other choice but to invade. Otherwise, he would look weak on the world stage. And obviously, for a strongman like him, the image of him is way more important for him personally than Russia's future or Russia's citizens. Because right now, after all the sanctions start hitting, it will be ordinary Russians who will suffer the most from them.
Yeah.
Because unlike most of oligarchs, they don't have no bank accounts on Cayman Islands or other offshore things. So it will be them who suffer the brunt of all the sanctions. But I don't think Putin cares about them or his soldiers that are dying for nothing.
I have another question about that, but actually, I think the more interesting thing is, initially you were talking about how if Russia would go for a full-scale invasion, you felt like Ukraine wouldn't stand any chance, and right now you're saying that maybe Russian overestimated the amount of support he would get. Has your stance changed at all since the conflict started in terms of, Ukraine's chances of being able to remain independent?
Actually, don't know. I was definitely surprised, as Evgeny, your previous guest, said, that I don't think a lot of people expected that Ukraine would give such a fight. But as I mentioned in chat, I honestly think Ukrainians have never been as united as right now. Because just a month ago, Zelensky, now like a national hero, his approval rating was 35%.
35%?
Yes, his approval rating was 35%.
Why was it so low? What were the main reasons?
I just think Ukraine was in a bad place, and Zelensky inherited Ukraine in a bad place. And while he made, I think he made a lot of positive changes. There is still a lot of corruption. There is still like a war in Donbass. There are a lot of unfulfilled promises. Like, he has been probably one of our better presidents, but I just think his task was too enormous and his promises were too big.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and like a month before the invasion started, his administration was prosecuting the previous president for treason, which was a little bit political rather than just criminal, because it's how it goes. And so, like, as I'm saying, Zelensky, while he was one of our better presidents, he was far from perfect. And he and his whole team didn't have a lot of political experiences, since he brought a lot of his friends and advisors from his entertainment business. But I think they were improving, and he started recruiting younger professionals for like very high posts in the government rather than career politicians, which has brought a lot of good things. For example, Ukraine has made a lot of advances in digital government and digital connection. Because, like, for example, I have all my vaccine cards, I have all my taxes, every info, medical cards, I can access them online through my apps, and it's like super easy, which is not true for like even for a lot of European countries. Like I lived for 5 years in Germany, I had to physically go to bureaus and hospitals and stuff like that to get my info. But digital transformation has been great in Ukraine, even if sometimes it results in our official Twitter posting memes, which is fine, I suppose. But yeah, but right now, I don't think right now, I think Zelensky's approval rate is like 95%, because even if Ukrainians don't agree with all of his politics, like you can't deny that unlike a lot of our previous presidents, he's there. He hasn't ran away and he's fighting. So alone.
Wait, so was it surprising that Zelensky, the former Ukrainian leader, came back? There was the mayor who continued fighting. Is this something that you expected?
No. I mean, the president, like not before him, but one before him, Yanukovych, that was pro-Russian. He literally escaped to Russia as soon as Ukrainians started protesting him in 2014, when there was like a revolution. He literally escaped to Russia. And then our next president was an oligarch. And to be fair, that oligarch right now is also fighting in the streets of Kiev.
Right.
So, he wasn't, I guess, that bad, but he was still an oligarch that like gave a lot of government positions to his rich friends. So he wasn't like very great. Corruption was rampant. But I honestly don't know if right now it's more like of PR and if he's actually fighting, but he's on the ground in Kiev as a billionaire that probably could have escaped to like some better places, but he's there. So I respect it, even if I don't respect a lot of his other policies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone can disagree with the fact that he's actually staying and fighting. And so I don't want to dox your location, but I know certain cities in Ukraine are safer now. And I know that you've been kind of trying to figure out how to evacuate for yourself and your family. What is it like trying to figure out moving between cities in Ukraine right now?
I think that right now, if you really want to, you can move. So like I'm in Eastern Ukraine, and I don't mind saying that I like in Kharkiv, so like the second biggest city in Ukraine, and mostly my city and Kiev has been the most important targets for Russian invasion, so it's getting pretty heated around the city, but it's still possible to safely like drive westward. I think even some trains are still working, but it's more of a but yeah, mostly, I don't know, a lot of people here are just waiting to see what happens next, because I think the general consensus that like if Kiev and Kharkiv fall, then all other cities will follow, because it's two biggest cities and it's where most of Ukrainian army and Russian army are located right now, around the cities or like in the cities in case of the Ukrainian army. So if like these two cities fall, then like all of Ukraine will fall. So there is, I guess, no point of trying to evacuate to like other Ukrainian city, if it makes sense.
Yeah. So what do you think are some of the more likely scenarios moving forward here?
It honestly depends not only on Ukrainians, but also on a lot of other factors. Like, finally, Germany has come through and they lifted their moratorium on exporting weapons. So they've been sending weapons. A lot of other European countries have been sending weapons to Ukraine. And honestly, I feel like if Europe and US finally managed to invoke a ban on SWIFT transactions, basically cutting off Russian banks from all foreign banks, it will be very helpful because a lot of Russian oligarchs and Russian banks, including the Russian Central Bank, hold billions of dollars in foreign bonds and foreign stocks. So if you cut them off from billions of dollars, it will be really impactful because I think a lot of
Right, but
people have.
it hasn't been the billions of dollars that are connected to where they're getting most of their cash flow, right? Like energy, which Biden said that he wouldn't touch.
Yeah, but I think it's. I think a lot of people in the West or even in Europe think that Russia is like an
And
empire
also,
and Putin is like an emperor, but it's not exactly like that. It's more like oligarchy where Russians richest oligarchs are propping up Putin and his regime because it's profitable, but once they start feeling that they are losing money, their support won't be as strong.
and I've seen some of it go around, and some people in chat are saying that some of this has already happened, right?
Yeah, so but also Russian economy is not really in the strong place, and wars are very expensive. I mean, I guess most Americans know how much US spent on. Yeah, and it's like, and it was US with support of all of NATO and European allies, and this is one Russia against, well, Ukraine is smaller and military is not as powerful, but it still has a lot of support in terms of ammunition and arms from the West, and most importantly, Ukrainian army has something to fight for, because obviously the more Russian soldiers die in the place so far from their home that they don't know what they are fighting for, the less inclined they will be to keep fighting. And for Ukrainians and Ukrainian soldiers, like, there is no backing. It's like they are as motivated as they can be to fight.
On top of just, defending their own country from invasion, what is it like in terms of Ukrainians fearing the bigger potential escalation? Like, if Ukraine would fall, maybe Russia would go into the rest of Eastern Europe, or if Russia feels like cutting off SWIFT is a war declaration. Are you concerned of that at all?
Not really. I think there is a reason why, for example, there are a lot of videos of missiles and bombs striking in the civilian buildings, but I honestly think it's either for fear mongering, but it's not the main target, because like they've been bombing the military installations around my city for like, I don't know, every few hours, every day for the last 3 days.
Yeah, how are you? Are you feeling okay? I mean, every time I talk to you, you seem like you're trying to be as level-headed as possible, but it must be terrifying to be hearing just missiles close by all the time.
Honestly, it might sound like coping, but you kind of get used to hearing the explosions throughout the day, and like you hear sirens. That means that there are Russian planes above the city, and you need to go to the basement. And like the first day, it was really scary. But then I realized that there is no good Wi-Fi in the basement, so I was like, whatever, I'll stay up in my place.
Yeah,
But,
no, I heard that, and that's the most Vila thing I've heard in a while. So now when you hear them, are you still staying in your apartment, or are you going in the basement?
no, I just moved to the living room where there are no windows near me, so just like in case something happens, I will be far away from windows and stuff like that. Like in case of earthquake. But I'm not going down to the basement.
Chad is saying go to the basement. Oh, we have a question from Night Goblin 8, and who also donated earlier. Thank you, Night Goblin. He said, a question to Vila: assuming the war reaches a peaceful resolution. First of all, that'd be incredible if that happened to start with. But he asked, do you think Russia will return Crimea and the People's Republic to Ukraine?
No. I mean, it's okay. It's more of like,
nope.
Yeah, because I think there is just so much leverage Ukraine and the world will have, even if Russia doesn't win this war, because basically a peaceful resolution is already the most probably we can expect from Putin, because unlike a lot of leaders and presidents, he doesn't really care about his soldiers, and it's not like it's a democracy where Russian people can vote him out, so he has less to lose. Does it make sense?
I think it makes sense, and I also think it's very unlikely that would happen, but it's interesting to hear it just from a Ukrainian perspective as well. So somebody's asking this question, and actually this is similar to what Yevgeny is saying, which I actually thought was really interesting. So he said, how's the economy going? Do people still manage to work and continue their lives despite the sirens every couple of hours? Have universities finally canceled classes? So we heard a little bit from Yevgeny on how people are still in the store and they're just providing services for free, but that'd actually be really interesting to hear how the Ukrainians are coping.
I think right now most people are kind of focused mostly on, on day-to-day basis. Like we don't really think about like what happens in a week or in 2 weeks, because obviously nobody knows. So it's mostly a lot of people keep going to work, but it's not about money anymore, I suppose. It's definitely a lot of people that are making food, that are making critical supplies. They keep working, and a lot of people whose jobs are not maybe so much important right now. They're helping army, they're volunteering, they are patrolling and stuff like that. So I think after this is over, we might find out that Ukraine's economy might be in a really bad place, but most people right now are just thinking about survival rather than the future of our economy, which probably will be not so great, but let's first get there.
First find a peaceful resolution and then worry about the economy. So actually what you were saying earlier in chat is how you felt that it was never about Putin's fear of Ukraine joining NATO, and we have somebody in chat who's saying, do you think there were any genuine security concerns Russia had? And I kind of already know your take here, but I think it'd be interesting for you to say it on voice chat as well.
Okay. I think that Putin, I guess the perspective of Ukraine being a part of NATO is scary for Putin, but not because he's scary of NATO, but because if Ukraine is part of NATO, then Putin can't just conquer Ukraine without declaring war to every other state of NATO. So, but then again, Ukraine was never close to joining NATO. In fact, right now, Ukraine is closer to joining NATO than it was a month ago before this invasion. Because, for example, like the general consensus was that other European countries don't want Ukraine to join NATO because it might put them on a war path with Putin and Russia, which, for example, Germany doesn't want to go into war with Russia for Ukraine.
Right.
I mean, Germany doesn't even really want to send weapons to help Ukraine. So, like, I guess it's like, since you studied international relations in East Asia, I guess it's like the Taiwan situation where United States doesn't acknowledge Taiwan's independence, but it also doesn't acknowledge China's claims over Taiwan.
Yeah.
How's it called? Is it?
Yeah.
There's some term for
the
this.
one China policy.
Yeah, so there is like some term for that type of policy where you don't acknowledge either position, where you stay like in the middle and you just pretend that like nothing is
because
happening.
you're not trying to say any kind of declaration, so you're just very careful with how you phrase things. But what do you think the main reasons are then for the invasion?
Honestly, because I think Putin is kind of like a megalomaniac. He is missing his Soviet Union days of glory Russian Empire, which is actually insane. But I guess for like his history perspective, when Soviet Union fell, Putin was a KGB officer, and he basically witnessed as the country he was serving, the country he was protecting, just fell and was humiliated on the world stage, and I guess it never went away. So, kind of like how, I don't know, what's a good example?
Do you think the current international environment had anything to do with it as well, or any global leaders? This is kind of an interesting question, but do you think he would have done this if Trump was president? Like if somebody who was more unstable, you don't know how they're going to react. And Chad, I'm curious your question here too.
It's actually a good question because, like, I know there is like always thing Trump was causing up to Russia and to Putin personally, but if you look just policy-wise, the harshest sanctions on Russia were enacted during Trump administration, because I suppose it was their way of, of trying to combat the idea that Trump was pro-Putin. I just think that Trump wasn't like very brilliant politician, and he didn't and he liked that Putin was a strong man, but he really didn't care about like Russian-US policies or whatever Russia's role in global politics. That's why he was fine with his administration enacting like the harshest sanctions Russia has seen, harsher than like Obama or harsher than even previously. And also Trump was kind of crazy, because you never knew he could have actually sent.
He could have actually started World War III.
Sent U.S. soldiers into Ukraine.
Yeah, I don't know if these were rumors or not, but I saw somewhere on Twitter that Trump told Putin that if he were ever to invade Ukraine, he would something about make those golden pillars explode in Moscow. I don't know if that was true, but he definitely things could have been a lot worse. But I'm just kind of curious if Ukrainians had any thoughts on whether U.S. leadership had any role in this. That was really the question.
I honestly don't know. I think it's more of like, I don't know if it's like true or not, but I definitely think Putin attacked only when he thought that he could get away with it.
Right.
So
did it
probably
feel
there are some
inevitable?
reasons.
Did it feel like Russia was always planning to do something like this, or because I mean I know that Ukraine has been kind of on high alert and always nervous about the border for some time.
Yeah.
Since Crimea, I guess, and before, since being.
Yeah, because like Ukraine and Russia has been at war for like last 8 years.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of was expecting when the other shoe is dropping. Like everyone was hoping that it will never drop or like whatever, but I don't know what went into Putin's decision to do it now and not like 2 years ago. Maybe it has nothing to do with Biden or Trump or any other things. Maybe there are some other things in play. Maybe he thought that Ukraine was at its weakest right now. That's why he attacked. Maybe his army wasn't ready 2 years ago. I honestly don't know what was the reason for Putin to do it right now, but I honestly think he overestimated everything because right now it doesn't really go according to his plans.
That's
Because like I said, even right now, even if Russia captures Kiev and Kharkiv, I can't see a way where Russian puppets can be a legitimate government. They will have to fight an insurgent war for years, if not decades. I mean, I think there are a lot of examples in global politics. I mean, Soviet Union spent 10 years in Afghanistan, didn't do anything, and had to leave. United States have a lot of bad experiences with regime changes as well, and it never ends well. So I can't imagine that he really thinks that it can work in Ukraine, especially now that 95% of Ukrainian people hate Putin and hate Russia.
what percent did you say?
I think about 95%.
What is this based on?
Just general. I guess I saw some polls, but obviously right now in the middle of the war, it's like not very, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody
in
will
the middle of
admit-
the war, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
very high percentage.
Nobody will admit that they are like pro-Russian, but even because, for example, Kharkiv is considered one of the most I guess, one with most Russian roots, because the first language in Kharkiv is Russian, not Ukrainian. Most people here speak Russian.
Mm-hmm.
But even in Kharkiv, like, there was no politician, no official who has ever, like, even entertained the idea of joining Russia, like, of not fighting Russian soldiers. So
Pedantic said Kiev Independent just reported Russian troops have entered Kharkiv. Stay safe. I mean, they have been there for a while, right?
yeah, they have been like around the city and sending their reconnaissance units for quite some time.
What is the thing that Ukrainians are most scared of right now? That could be the anything that could kind of change how the conflict is going so far.
I think there are a lot of things that Ukrainian people should be scared of right now, because like we don't want Ukraine to turn into another like Syria, like the failed state where everything is bombed. But I think right now Ukrainians are too proud and too angry to think about fear. Right now, I think the general morale is that like we'd rather die than surrender to Russians, which is obviously like very brave, but also maybe not the best thing for Ukraine's future. But honestly, it's been 3 days and Russia has not captured any big city. So right now, it honestly all depends on Putin, because I think if in 2 or 3 days there is still no progress from Russian army, it will be a make it or break it moment for Putin, where he will either have to go full scorched earth and send all of his available units to attack Ukraine, including urban warfare, and start shelling cities and civilian buildings, or he will have to retreat, because wars are expensive and there is only so many days Russian army can be in Ukraine without making any progress.
If something like that would happen, worst case scenario, scorched earth, what would you try to do to get to safety?
That's a good question. Probably escape through western borders, so it's Poland, Romania, Slovenia, I think. But it will be definitely a very long travel. But I guess if it goes there, then I'll have to do it. It's not like there are other choices if Putin's army starts shelling like residential buildings in the cities.
How much of a heads up do you think you would have?
I don't know. Maybe there will be some intelligence leak or some other things, but realistically, we will know when the first set of bombs drop in the middle of my city.
That's kind of terrifying. And the other, I mean, the other terrifying thing is, do you think, there'll be mandatory enlisting into the military? I mean, obviously it's a possibility. I don't know how likely you think it is.
I think the problem with mandatory enlisting is that someone has to enforce it. But I would assume that during a war with Russia, like there are no resources of Ukrainian army or Ukrainian government to actually, like hunt random people trying to dodge the draft. And especially I think now, I guess the morale is so high that they don't really need to do that because there are just so many
it's all
volunteers.
voluntary right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like even if people who don't want to fight, most Ukrainians are trying to help how they can. They donate, they help with clearing basements, with making food for the army, and etc. So I don't think the mandatory enlistment will be a thing, and even if it will be a thing, I don't think it will be very effective.
So, what do you think of the policy of not allowing males I don't know, remember if it was 16, I think it was 18 to 60 to get out?
18 to 60.
18 to 60? Obviously, this impacts you as well.
Yeah, honestly, I would be more mad if I didn't see that majority of elected officials and leaders of our country also stayed. So if, for example, if Zelensky would be sitting somewhere right now in Germany and then he would enact a ban, then it would be not very great, but I guess it's much easier to accept that when you see that the leaders, the people who enact those laws, are also following them and are willing to put their lives on the line as well. So, and while I'm not sure I'm ready to fight, but I'm also will not try to bribe or to find a way out of the country until this is over.
Right.
I'd like for my family to get out, for my mother and my younger brother that is not 18 yet, but yeah. But let's just say I'm not mad that this law is in place.
Got it. So somebody has been asking this for a while. Are there any exceptions for males in that age range, like if they're disabled or anything that allows them to leave?
I'm not sure, but I would be surprised if there wasn't such an exception, because I guess the idea is not just to make everyone here just stay and trap. The idea is that to have everyone with, I guess, fighting capabilities, of resistance capabilities, to stay and help defeat Russia. So it would be hard for me to mention why would anyone stop disabled people from leaving.
Yeah, I imagine even if it's not an official law as they're passing, I mean, it just makes sense that people who aren't able to fight for some reason like that would be allowed to leave the country if they're even able to make it through, the crazy traffic and the missiles and everything else going on to get to the borders. Is it encouraging that, I mean, basically every neighbor other than Belarus is accepting Ukrainians, or is this expected?
I think it's great. I would imagine that it was expected, but also I think it was expected from the government, but it's also very heartwarming that a lot of like Polish people, a lot of Romanian people are coming to the border with food, with clothes, with other necessities, and offer rights, over places to stay, over help to Ukrainian refugees. So it's really heartwarming to see neighbors as like people in those neighboring countries to be so welcoming. But like it would be strange if like progressive European countries were denying entry to war refugees, especially since Ukrainians can visit European Union countries without visa for like 90 days. So like it's even without a war, it's like illegal entry.
And what do you think about how like Western media, Western Twitter is portraying the conflict that's going on? Are you happy with it? Do you think there's any kind of biases going on?
Yes. I think it's definitely been romanticized, especially when it comes to like Zelensky, which I guess was his goal when he
Right.
posted so many videos, and he is really good at media
He was
interacting.
really coming off as an international hero. Like,
Yes, and as I said, like just months ago, even inside Ukraine, his popularity wasn't that high. So like he's been good at this, and I think there was a lot of support in Western media. Also, like of course, there were also some stuff like from people like Tucker Carlson and some other Fox News hosts that were praising Putin. But I guess I can't really expect reasonable things from them anyway. So I think in general it has been great.
is there anything you think needs more coverage or hasn't been explained properly?
Honestly, I think with any conflict, there are a lot of intricacies and a lot of historical pretext. But honestly, right now, as I see in Western media, the main trope of every coverage is like Russian bad, Ukraine good, and like I'm okay with that coverage, even if it's not very detailed. I think as long as Western media and Western people keep pressure on the government to support Ukraine, I don't necessarily care about how real or how detailed they are, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, chat, if you guys have any other questions for Vila, put them in the chat. We'll ask him a few more questions and then we'll let him go. I'm gonna pick the interesting questions, and if there's none, then we'll let Vila not hang out where he's supposed to because he's trying to get internet connection anyway. Vila detailed the situation very well. That's nice. Where's my Armani? Let's see. 1 second. Why a lot of people have asked about the ghost of Kiev. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I think it's like a story about a Ukrainian fighter pilot who destroyed like 6 or 7 of Russian fighter jets. I'm not sure if I don't think like it's a true story, but like every war needs its heroes.
Are you worried about Chernobyl falling into Russian control?
I think right now it's under Russian control, but as much as Putin is really crazy, I don't think he is that crazy, because it's also in his interest to keep Chernobyl safe from any gunfire or any from missile and bombs, because if Chernobyl leaks, and it's not like borders and soldiers don't stop the radiation, it will, and Russia and Belarus are close to Chernobyl as well, so it won't be an issue just for Ukraine. So from the reports that I saw, like Russian soldiers are also securing Chernobyl and trying to not let anything happen to it.
Thank you, streamer Inu, for the 21 subs. Really appreciate it. And I'm gonna donate the subs today towards the charity, so it'll be included. We really appreciate it. The scarier thing is, do you think Russia could cut off the energy grid or communication, because that seems like it'd be very scary.
I think if Russia had an ability to do that, they would have done it by now.
You don't think it might just take time?
I'm not so sure, because I feel like I don't know, because like for example for gas, a lot of gas that Russia is selling to Europe is going through Ukraine. So if they cut off the gas from Ukraine, they also cut off the gas from Europe, which means that a lot of European countries will be way more pissed at Putin. And most importantly, Russia won't receive money for selling gas, which is their main export, and like oil and gas is like 70% of Russian budget income. So like, I think it's possible. I think there are possible localized things where they cut off like certain cities or certain.
But the biggest
regions.
risk is if they cut off the two biggest cities, right?
Yeah, so like if they bombed electric grid or like something like that. But I think if they so far didn't do so, then there are reasons why they didn't do it. So maybe it takes some time, but maybe they just don't have the capabilities in place to do so. I'm not sure, to be honest.
That's fair. And I keep seeing chat asking about Starlink again. Do you agree with Yevgeny? Is it true that you need to get a specific router? And if that's the case, do you think that's actually going to be able to help at all?
I think like for Starlink internet to work, you need like a special like dish and then a special hardware to encode stuff like that. It's not just like, you know, a router where you, because like for example, for the router, when you plug it in the wall, you plug it in like, there is a fiber optic cable there, or like the telephone cable, you still need to plug in something. So for like Starlink to work, you can't just, you know.
So is it going to help at all?
I don't think so, but honestly, it's just more of like PR move for Ukraine to tag Elon Musk and get his support, so that like his million followers see that like something's happening in Ukraine and Elon Musk is supporting it, so they can also support Ukraine.
So using it for awareness.
Yeah, it's same thing.
It is free PR and marketing for Ukraine, so that is still helpful.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Ukraine has got really good at PR with our like entertainer president. I mean, yeah, it's obviously a PR move, but you know, whatever helps for the war efforts, like we'll take Elon Musk likes and tweets.
That's fair. Okay, well, Vila, thank you for chatting. I feel like you have been very level-headed, and while I have you here to peer pressure you, is there anything you think you could do to be a little bit more safe or make sure you'll be okay?
I think so, but no, I have my...
Chat is telling you to go to the basement.
I mean, chance that my building out of every building in the city center gets bombed is very small, but I have my like my backpack, my go-to backpack, right? You know, like have all documents, money, clothes in one place, so I can, you know, escape my apartment in like 2 minutes.
And so you've been checking Twitter, because apparently I know you already know this, but the Russian forces are in the city center where you live, according to the mayor.
They are progressing, but I actually think one of the Russian units got lost and accidentally went into the city center, and I think they are like going back right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually pretty funny. Okay, well, thank you, Vila, for everything. I obviously will keep checking in to make sure you're safe. If there's anything else you think is important to know, or even anything about the charity or any ways to help, like please let me and chat know. Yeah,
for sure. So like the charity that Alex picked today is pretty good. That it's more oriented for like civilians. I think a lot of people in Ukraine has been donating to military. You can find it on like Ukraine's official Twitter account. You can find where to donate to military. You can use it. You can even donate through Bitcoin and Ethereum, so like crypto. You can use usual bank transfers and stuff like that. But just we're all here also like just waiting to see how the next day is gonna be. Hopefully it will resolve peacefully. But if there is no peaceful resolution, I just hope that we'll win, or at least take as many Russians down as possible before it gets too bad.
Okay, well, Vila, I hope you stay safe. I hope your family is okay. I hope you find a way out for your mom and your brother. And thank you for talking to stream.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye, Vila. My flux went on. Alright, you guys, that was Vila. He has been one of our mods since I think 2018 actually, and he's also been working with me and Andrea for like 2 years now. We were actually working with Envy to get Vila a visa into US. He'd also be working for our roommate and helping her as well, and it was very close, and then the conflict happened, so Vila has ice water in his veins. He does. Yeah, conflict. I mean, conflicts never come at a good time. But it was appreciated to hear his take. And I appreciate everybody who's been donating. Also, if you've subbed, if you've done bits, if you've donated, I'm just gonna look at stream elements. I'm gonna add them all up. Twitch takes like a 30% cut, so I'm going to remove that, and then I'm also going to add $1,000 from my own, and I'm going to add a receipt so that you guys can make sure it went to the correct place. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to be donating to Project Cure. They're a very reputable, well-established charity that has been in Ukraine for over 20 years now, so they're also helping with medical devices. No, Twitch doesn't take from donations. They only take from, they take from subs. Bits are pretty equal. They're like, I mean, you have to pay a little bit more for bits, but whatever bits amount you do, I'm going to donate it directly. Because I know it's sometimes easier to do it on here, and it encourages people when they see donations. Thank you, Dosh Ninja. I appreciate it. And 100 for Mama Botez. Yes. Yes. I'm surprised how many people want him to run somewhere, fight or flight response, I guess. I mean, yeah, that definitely is a very... has your donation gone through? Let me open Stream Elements and check. I think I do have Stream... If Stream Elements sometimes doesn't work, so I might have to look through PayPal and then just take all of those. But let me look. That is weird. Stream Elements is not showing donations, so I'm gonna have to look through PayPal, which I'm not gonna do on stream because I'm worried about leaking. But I promise you, if you did donate, I will add it. I can send a screenshot in Discord for anybody who wants to double check. But I'll also, once I get the final donation, if you guys are curious how much it is, I'll put it somewhere publicly or put it on stream somewhere. But you guys can also donate directly. I'm just transferring it over if it's easier to donate on here. Where's the Discord? If you do command Discord, we have a sub Discord. People need to stop hating on Russian so much. We're not hating on Russian people. Actually, during the stream, we said, you know, a reminder, it's not the Russian people who are doing this. People don't have control over who their leader is, especially in a state like Russia, which is not a true democracy, obviously. I actually really appreciate the fact that a lot of Russians have been protesting as well. I don't think anybody wants to get wants to be brought into a war. I've even heard, like Russian soldiers who have barely been trained who are sent out to this war that they're not even understand what support is, and that's honestly very sad for them as well, and it's not their fault. Thank you, Botez. I really appreciate it. I'll make sure to forward that. Is the audio in the VOD? I think so. We've had issues with our audio, so somebody's gonna have to check. Some have said they don't know they're invading Ukraine. Yes, apparently some of the mainstream Russian sites have not even been showing this. But again, I've been getting a lot of my news from Twitter, so if I am saying something wrong, feel free to tell me in the chat. The cool thing is I get instant feedback, so you guys will know. And this is very much a collaboration. Dina was not happy about this. Yeah, of course. Much love to all of the Russians going onto the street, demonstrating against the war and the Putin regime. Yeah, and it is honestly even very risky for them to be doing that. Did I study regime changes in Latin America, Guatemala, Chile, El Salvador? I didn't focus on those regions. I know a little bit about it, and I also traveled there a bit, for example, in El Salvador, but definitely not my area of expertise. Yeah, Karyakin had kind of a weird tweet, but Karyakin also played for Russia, so it's kind of something different. I don't want to comment on that. I don't know the backstory, and it's also not even it's not even about that. Maprel, you are correct, Russian. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. Did I see the Yanks of Minx's stream? No, what happened? Weird is a nice way to put it. Yeah, I'm definitely being charitable. I'm trying to understand the fact that maybe, people are impacted by propaganda themselves, especially when they're too close to the problem. It's always, I might be naive, but it's always very hard for me to ever think that somebody's doing something malicious intentionally. I usually attribute it to ignorance, not malice, especially someone who hasn't done things for me to think otherwise. So I don't want to comment on that. I don't really know the background enough. It was just very strange. Heavy on spelled backwards. Well, hey, I'm acknowledging these things. Halicon Rage 3, thank you so much for the 2 months. No, I haven't, Mr. Roboga. 1 out of 100 people? Yeah, that's still a pretty small percentage. Does the Russian government fund a large part of their chess program? That's a good question. I've understood that, like, the Russian government really does support chess players, especially when they make it to the highest ranks. How do I think the Ukrainian conflict will reflect on chess at world scale, or will it? Russia's been closed for other international... Oh, that's a really good question. The chess community so far has been, very supportive of trying to find a peaceful solution, which has been very heartwarming to see. But then sometimes you do see politics getting into chess. Like, for example, like certain countries, when they'd be playing against Israel, one or the other side would not show up in terms of protests. So you'd sometimes see things bleeding over into chess. And chess, of course, has been used as a political tool before. So maybe. Hopefully not. It's not only naive, it's dangerous. There's plenty of evil people around, even some you know. That is fair. It is just sometimes hard when it's a figure that you know, or somebody who you know personally, and when they've never acted in a way like that for you to think it. Bye, Alien. I'm glad you hung out. I appreciate it. Hey, Damo, it's good to see you, and I'm excited for... Oh, shoot, I need to check when you're going to be in LA. I'm going to reply to you after the stream. I'm sorry I didn't right away. Go out, protest, support Ukraine. Oh, got it. He follows typical Russian propaganda. Okay. Well, there you go. Haley Khan, thank you so much for the 5 subs. I really appreciate it. Do I think Russia would continue to Romania and Moldova? I mean, based on what some people were saying about how part of it is Russia feeling they have a claim to to Ukraine, Moldova would seem like a little bit of a bigger target since they have a higher percentage of ethnic Russians. I really hope not. I'd imagine going into Romania would... I mean, if Russia starts taking over other countries, we're fucked. So I hope not. But yeah, I mean, I still do have family in Romania, have a lot of friends in Ukraine, so this does touch home. Yeah, Romania is a NATO country, that's true, so they wouldn't go into Romania. But Moldova... Yeah. Good point. Thank you, chat. Ukraine will never give up. If their government collapses, they will go into guerrilla warfare and Putin will label them terrorists. I've seen this take very often in the chat about the risk of if if Russia somehow is able to get Ukraine to surrender, it would be after a very long war, even if the government collapses. So yeah, hopefully that's deterring Russia and realizing it's going to be more expensive and harder than they thought. Yeah, Kasparov did move out of Russia. Kasparov was a very outspoken opponent of Putin, and I think it was very brave of him. And I remember people used to kind of joke that he went from chess into politics, but it was good to see him using his platform to try to stand up for what was right. Yeah, no, he was. Somebody said, I am Russian. Wait, what did he say? I am Russian and I live in fear here. We have pressure inside our government and now the world where hates. Oh, I am so sorry. I don't think from what I've seen, people really aren't taking it against Russians. I think people have a lot of empathy for Russians as well because, I mean, regular Russians are going to be hit by the sanctions. Things are going to get harder for ordinary Russians. The ones who are protesting are risking their lives. I'm, Laziest G, I'm very sorry for you as well. And this is out of your control. Yeah, we're not blaming you for stuff like this. I was reading today that Kasparov was beaten and arrested at the Pussy Riot trial. Yep, he stands behind his convictions. He does. It's arrogant to think you are good in politics because you're a good chess player. I don't think he thought that. He already had a platform because of being the world champion in chess, and he used that platform even as being, an official player for the Russian government to actually speak out against a regime he doesn't agree with to the point of having even been beaten in protests. So I think that's very different. Yeah, Matt Braille, he is. I remember Kasparov actually came to Stanford to give a talk before, too. But anyway, I appreciate everybody who hung out today. Can we support Ukraine and donate money? Yes. So just a reminder today, you could donate if you want to donate to the stream and you want me to do it on your behalf. I'm going to do it after the stream. Or if you want to donate directly, you can do that as well. I spent some time earlier today talking also with Evgeny and with Vila to try to figure out what a good charity would be in terms of support. And I wanted to find one that isn't necessarily involved with the military because that might make people have to take a political decision. I know some people view it that way. Thank you so much. So instead we found a charity that is basically... Oh, thank you, Real Moise. I really appreciate it. They're helping with medical supplies. And they're basically helping hospitals, clinics, community health centers, places that are going to be under-resourced in times like this. And that's kind of something that I feel confident in choosing as a charity that I'm going to support as well. Aww.
Streamer Inu donated $400.
Thank you,
Hey,
Streamer
Botez,
Inu.
we just wanted to show a token of our appreciation. Thank you for bringing on the Ukrainian mod for awareness and linking a legit website for donations. Streamer News mission will always be to support incredible streamers like yourself.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, I think this was earlier. Oh, you guys, I think we're just behind on alerts. That's why I haven't seen them. Yeah, so this was one of them. If you have a specific cause that you care about, that you want to help, there was another link that Yevgeny and Vila gave me as well. That one, I didn't use that one because it had so many different charities that I wasn't able to vet all of them. Which if I'm going to talk about a charity, I wanted to have been able to vet it, look at, you know, their transparency, look at their past, are they established? But I will share the link in case you guys want to take a look there as well. I'm scrolling through our conversation. Okay, here it was. I'm going to link it in the chat, so you can take a look if there's somewhere you want to donate specifically. Also, if you guys have crypto, Vitalik actually linked a charity that is not helping in terms of buying weapons. It was this one, Unchained.fund. So if you're a crypto person, you know, you don't want to sell your crypto because you don't want to pay taxes. You might as well use them to donate instead. So I'm gonna link this in here.
Thanks for doing this.
And these are the NGOs they support. So they're not raising funds for weapons. I've looked into some of these. They look legitimate. Voices of Children, for example, is helping with like psychology and things like that, which, sorry, not psychology, but mental health for children and other resources. That seems like something that would come after military conflict, which is why I wasn't sure if that was the best one. Bostock seemed pretty legit, but I couldn't find them on Charity Navigator. So there's a lot of other ones you guys can look at. I just wasn't able to vet them all. Crypto charity sounds legit. Well, I mean, the Ukrainian government is taking things directly.
Valdez 72 cheered. X100000 help support Ukraine by donating. World greater than one evil Putin.
Fluffy holes. Ukrainian people should feed the Russian soldiers and maybe they'll stop understand they're just people. Okay, wow. All of these alerts are coming through now. I didn't see them before. I appreciate it. Hassan has been looking for... I think Hassan was trying to find evacuation funds, and I wasn't able to find one yet today, but I will keep an eye out. I will keep an eye out. We did talk to Vila, and we talked also to Yevgeny, who is a Ukrainian grandmaster. Oh my god, the Hollywood actress video was unreal. That was unreal. I wonder if donating crypto qualifies as a tax write-off. Yeah, you're right. I think donating crypto is more for people who have a lot of crypto and it's an easier way to give, because if you do donate to, for example, Cure, it is a tax write-off. But yeah. Wait, you guys haven't seen this video? Oh my gosh, it was the craziest thing I've seen. It was like this actress who was going on some speech about how if she had been Putin's mother, this would not have happened. And it was just very tone deaf. Yeah, it was a poem. I honestly, I can't rewatch it because it was hard to watch the first time. And I imagine most people have, you guys have seen it, right? If you watch it on stream, I will unfollow. Yeah, okay. It's really bad. No, it was just, it was painful to watch. Okay, you guys haven't seen it. Moist Critical covered it in a very funny way, actually. He came up with a very funny title. Hang on. It was this one. This lady just stopped Russia.
Coming.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a taste of it, and that's all. Okay. This is the worst take I saw. Okay, chat, prepare yourselves. A little bit of cringe content. Ready?
Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm.
It's like the ending to 8 Mile if it was dog shit.
Moist Critical manages to make it everything funny. Yeah, we don't need to watch this. I couldn't really watch it the first time. But there were some very funny people, like, kind of just retweeting it and being like, yeah, imagine Putin watches this and he just, like, stops it. It's gonna be so impactful. Anyway. But, moving on. Whoa! Baldez, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Baldez72 cheered. X7777. My prayers are with Ukraine and innocent civilians dying. Stop evil Putin regime.
It had to be a joke. I thought it had to be a joke because otherwise it wouldn't have made sense. No, I didn't read comments and not reply. The chat is moving fast. I'm trying to reply. Insanity is contagious. Yeah, I don't know. It was wild. You don't think it's a joke? Yeah, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it even couldn't take this. Yeah, maybe not. But anyway, you guys, it is almost 11 here. I want to go through the donations today and the subs and make sure I count them all. Make the donation to Project Cure. I'll post the receipt as well. Thank you everybody who hung out today. You know, I know it's not like the easiest kind of stream, but I like that we have a community that comes together in times like this and tries to help. Post the receipt on Reddit. Yeah, I could post it on Reddit. Tweeting it feels... I'm very torn about tweeting donations because on one end, I think when people see donations, it might encourage them to donate as well, but it's also very virtue signaling. So I don't know if it does more harm than good to publicly post donations. So maybe Reddit or Discord is the best, you know? Post it on Discord. I might honestly just show it on stream next time. The donations from our viewers, Reddit or Discord, put it in the subway, Discord it. Tweeting is too much. Okay, cool. So we agree. Then we'll put it on. We'll put it somewhere, or I'll just show it next stream. I want to make sure that I get through everything. Are you counting after the stream ends? Yeah, I'm gonna do it after the stream just to make sure that I don't miss stuff. Here, I'm due to make my... Yeah, I mean, I could just post it in Discord, and then we'll have enough people who are on here. I did see Karyakin's tweet. As people in chat said, he has been reading a lot of Russian propaganda. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm gonna figure out someone to raid. Thank you, Baldez. I really appreciate it. If this was a stream from the future, how would I know the difference? I think you would. Thank you, Slime Bamboo. I appreciate it. Karyakin is an example of the reality not every Russian is your friend, even if they aren't in government. Well, I mean, Karyakin is the example of... Yeah, I mean, so, some Russians will support the Russian government, of course. Thank you, Champ. I appreciate it. Oh my god, Cutie's Cake is here. I'm gonna go look for it. So ETA for next stream. So tomorrow we are streaming with Coffee Chess. Not streaming, we're filming videos. Last one there was some issues on the recordings. I'm trying to see if I could fix them, but I'm going to do it again. So, that means that we're planning to stream on Monday, since we'll probably be exhausted from filming tomorrow. Let me check. Oh yeah, Monday Andrea is gonna be on Schooled from noon to 3 p.m. So, we're definitely streaming on Monday, and I'll probably stream after her. I think, you know, I don't like that last time Andrea was on School, Miskiff accused her of cheating, which I know Andrea didn't do, or like, there were emotes, which everyone was doing, there was no instructions, and there was never really an apology or anything, cause, yeah, I guess, you know, sometimes people don't really care, but, okay, yeah, yeah, it kind of bothered me. Where's Lurky? Oh, we moved everything because we're moving things around. Thank you, Clockwork Banana. Yeah, but I mean, people were like taking clips and putting on LSF and saying things. Did I stick up for Andrea? Well, I mean, I did then, and I still feel weird about it. If she was cheating, she would have gotten the months of the year right. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, guys. I'm gonna find somebody to, raid. And then I'm gonna check over the finances. If trivia's about cheating, no amount of... For geography? No, that's true. That's true. What is the name of the device? What device? I gotta go on and defend her honor. I would take something like that way too seriously. And I'd be very bothered if I didn't know things. So it's not a good fit for me. Okay, let's find somebody to raid. Okay. My roommates aren't streaming anymore? Is Minx done? Did Minx stop streaming? She did? Oh, they're eating cake. What? They have cake? Okay, I'm gonna go look for their cake too. Alright. You know what, you guys, this was I will get the cake. I will get the cake. Oh, Cutie is live. Okay, I'm gonna raid Cutie. Its page still says you're 23. That's because I am 23. Okay. Alright, guys. Thank you, everybody who helped donate today. I hope we're gonna go help those civilians who need help. And I really appreciate everybody who was able to. If you're not able to, please don't worry. It was nice of you to sit here and listen on a, you know, very different style stream than usual. We will be back Monday at 1 p.m. the latest. That's when Andrea starts school. She said she might stream before. I will stream after her. Tomorrow we're filming coffee chess videos, so we will be back soon. And I will post the receipts in Discord so the subs can confirm that we got all of the donations to where they need to be. And I'll probably just have the link in the next couple of streams as well, unless there are people who have tips for better places to support, and then we could do that instead. Alright, guys. I don't have something in my mouth, that's just how I've been talking. Bye, you guys. Oh, I do have Invisalign, but I'm not wearing it right now. Alright, bye everyone. Send Cutie your love, and thank her for the cake, please. Bye!